What is the most powerful country in the world today? First one that might pop into your head is the United States. But is that still the case? Was it always the case? In this video, we're going to look at different systems of global power distribution: unipolar, bipolar, and multipolar. Let's review the concept of power for a second before we dive into power distribution systems. We think of power as an actor's ability to achieve their preferred outcomes. To do this, you need some power resources. And depending on the kind of power, these can be a strong economy, a robust military, cultural influence, or many others. I have a whole nother video on the basics of power and hard and soft power that you can check out. And hey, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss other videos as well. The idea of power distribution systems looks at the community of states as a whole and the power relationships between them. And this can even look different whether you're looking at the global level or more narrowly at different regions around the world. For example, looking globally, you might consider the United States to be the most powerful state in the world. But looking more regionally at, say, Europe, well, that might be Germany or France or the United Kingdom, depending on how you look at it. When you have one single state that dominates the system, we call that a unipolar system. When this state uses its power to influence and guide others and shape the rest of the system, we call that state a hegemon, and we often consider this kind of unipolar system a hegemony, which is a pretty cool vocab word to have in your back pocket. The post-Cold War world is often referred to as a liberal hegemony, with the United States using its power and influence to shape Western liberal values and capitalism and free trade throughout the world. When two states share that top spot in a global power distribution system, we call that a bipolar system. And as we've seen historically, other states will ally themselves with one of these two states in an attempt to balance the overall system. The Cold War was an example of a bipolar world in action, with the United States and Soviet Union competing against each other as the two major global superpowers, and other states allying themselves with either one, and either the US or Soviet Union exerting hegemonic influence over their respective satellite states. The final form of power distribution is multipolar, with multiple states balancing each other at relatively comparable levels of power. Thinking in terms of economic power in the world today, you could argue that the United States, China, Japan, and the European Union's common market are currently operating as a multipolar global economic system. Another often used example is the Concert of Europe balance of power system, established in 1815 by the Congress of Vienna and lasting until the outbreak of the First World War. And so thinking about how a system is organized can help us understand its stability. If there's an effective balance of power in a system, that might lead to stability. But if power in the states in the system is rapidly shifting, well, that could cause destabilization and potentially lead to conflict. To what extent is looking at the world today like this still relevant? Thinking about balance of power and generally the power of states is an important aspect of the global politics theory of realism, which continues to be influential today. But to political scientist Joseph Nye, the 21st century global system should be seen more as what he calls a three-dimensional game of chess. I wonder if he was a Star Trek fan. On the top, you have the United States with its unipolar military power. Beneath it, as we discussed, global economic power can be seen as more multipolar, with different states sharing economic power in the system. And on the bottom, we see the growing power of non-state actors, as well as other challenges that are transnational and don't consider state borders. Terrorist organizations, threats to cybersecurity, corporations, and as we've seen more recently, pandemics have the ability to upset the order on the top two chessboards. And it's here on this bottom chessboard that power is most diffused, most unpredictable, and growing. So what do you think? Is the traditional way of looking at power as competition between states still accurate in the world today? Or does the increasing influence of non-state actors challenge the more traditional way of thinking? Your answer to that question may determine whether you're a liberal or a realist, and you can check out my videos on those two global politics theories here. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already, so that you don't miss anything in the future, and we will see you again next time.